Hi and welcome to Hidden Gems. I'm Sarah Walker and today I'm with Michael and Joe from Rogue Animal. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So, would you like to tell me a bit about your background? Like, have you written any books?
Sure. I've recently finished a master's in publishing. Prior to that, I was studying creative writing and English literature. I've always had sort of an interest for writing ever since I was a child, and I think that sort of culminated in Rogue Animal. I've just finished my first book, which is I'm in talks with the publishers, which hopefully will be released next year. It's a YA fantasy.
Send me the book when it's out.
Sorry?
You have to send me a link to the book when it's out.
Yes, yeah, definitely. We will. I will. Yeah.
And I'm on my second year of my degree in fine art at the minute, and I've created a manga called Zack and Sam, and I've also done some one-shot comics, about 30 pages each.
You can find Zack and Sam on the Rogue Animal site as well, so if anyone wants to check that out.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it on the blog.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you.
So, what initially inspired you to set up Rogue Animal?
So Rogue Animal was largely born out of a frustration with the larger publishing industry for me. It felt as a new author, it was very difficult to get seen. I think that's a frustration quite a lot of us have at the moment. It seemed to me there's a sense that within the larger publishing industry, the role of the literary agent has become pretty much a sort of gatekeeper, and if you aren't seen as being able to make a certain amount of money, you're basically locked out of the publishing world. So Rogue Animal sort of came out of that frustration and wanting to give indie authors a bit of a more of a voice.
Basically being rogue animals, aren't we?
Yes, pretty much.
The full point.
I should also say we both come at it from very sort of different angles. I'm much more focused on the traditional novel publishing side of it, and Joe's dealing more with the graphic novels.
I look at all the comics and graphic novels and anything like that, and Michael looks into all the literary.
Yes, so we're both bringing our own strengths to the around the table, as it were.
So if someone's submitting books to you, should they send certain books to Michael and Joe? Or do you just not mind?
Well, there's a shared email
we share
address,
an email,
But if a text is described as a graphic novel, Joe will generally check it out.
Yeah.
Whereas I will check out a more of a traditional novel or short story.
So when someone said your book submission, is there anything specific you're looking for in the story?
Largely, the only thing we look for is that the story, one, has sort of passion about it, is written with passion, but also the fact that it holds the reader. As long as I want to know what happens next, kind of thing. Obviously, we don't want any sort of grammatical errors, but in general, we're fairly open to accepting people. We want to be...
as long as it's not of a poor quality or anything, and you can see that they're not committed to continuing the project.
Yeah, we want some sort of commitment that the project is going to be continued, generally, if the story isn't finished.
So how many pages do you read before you know that is the book for you?
If it's a novel, we'll read the first generally around the first 3 chapters. If it's a short story, we'll try to read the whole thing. So,
and if it's to do with comics, I'd probably generally read. If I really like it, I'll read the whole thing because I read a lot of stuff like that. But
I mean, we obviously if a story captivates you, then generally we'll go on to read the rest of it, of course. But to start off with, we generally look at
the first like 10 pages or 20 pages of comics
and the first 3 chapters.
Okay, thank you. So I speak to a lot of authors when editing their books, and they all spend a lot of time debating what font they should use and stuff like that. Is there a specific layout that you're looking for when someone submits a book?
Not specifically. I think we obviously want the books to be a PDF. As long as it's sort of legible.
As long as you can read the font and the words and it all flows right, then we're not really bothered about that.
We give the authors the freedom to, if they want to go with a specific layout, obviously that's their choice and their decision.
So you're wide open then for all that. So does the front cover ever play a role in which books you decide to put on your website? And if so, what is it you're looking for?
In general, we see the story first, and then we will see a cover. The cover doesn't directly influence a decision as to whether a story should go on the site or not. If the story, if it's not a sort of professional standard, we may ask for a different cover. But it doesn't block an author on the site.
But it does make an impact on where we put it on the site. So if one cover is looking more professional, and we'll put it more probably towards the front, so it gives a more professional outlook for the site as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just an extra question I thought of, but what should a front cover look like to be professional? So, because people debate about they like having people on it, or they like photos. Is there anything specific that would look good?
Well, I think because it's sort of like novels and mangas and comics and graphic novels, I'd say they're completely different in terms of covers. So with books and novels, you can do more, where you can do both of like drawings and photos. Either one would look good, but when it comes to graphic novels and mangas, I'd say more like the drawing route is better.
Yeah.
And for the person to really show their talent within the cover, I think that's important.
I think generally the most important thing certainly for a novel cover is imagining it on a shelf in a store or whatever, and whether you can imagine someone being drawn to it and wanting to pick it up. So I think that's something you need to imagine or think about when you're creating your cover.
Okay.
But rule, I don't think.
It's not an easy thing to do, design a front cover, I know.
No, it's definitely no. We appreciate that.
So self-publishing comes with so many negative stereotypes because people think that you self-publish because your book isn't very good, and that opinion can negatively impact book sales. So, is it worthwhile taking the self-publishing route?
I think today more than ever there's an opportunity for self-published authors. I mean, going back 10 years ago, I think it was even it was a different story. But now we've got all these different platforms on social media, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. There's an opportunity to reach your sort of core audience. Obviously, it's not without its challenges. If you're a self-published author, you pretty much have to be promoting yourself 24/7. But I think it is a worthwhile thing. If you're committed to a book, I think it's definitely a route to consider.
As long as you do the right marketing and you get it out there properly, I don't think there should be any opinion of whether you're more or less professional than people published by big publishers.
I think knowing your audience is basically treating it like you would run a business. I mean, if you're writing a book that's sort of tailored towards older readers, then perhaps you want to focus more on Twitter because it's an older demographic that use that. Whereas something like Instagram maybe for a younger audience.
But it's just like you can also get printed out books and take them out to your local shops and see if you can get deals going where they can sell your books.
How would you actually approach your book to the local shop?
I think in general, to start off with, it's you should go with the online route because printing is very expensive.
Yeah, it is very expensive.
And I think and you have to be more sure of success if you're going to be spending money on lots of printing books. I think in general, if you are going to approach a seller, then smaller bookstores are more likely to give you a chance than someone like Waterstones, where you have to go through a distributor.
Yeah, I had a look at that once. It looks very difficult to get through them.
Yes.
Is there any advice you give someone to help improve their book sales, like how to write a tweet that would interest people, or the book blurb?
In terms of writing tweets, what I've always done is looked at this hashtag on Twitter, writing community, which most authors generally use when promoting their work, and you can find great examples there of how authors have promoted their books. In terms of blurb writing, the tough one maybe just reading blurbs of books that you admire and getting a feel for how.
I think going out and doing research to see what's successful out there. I think that should be the main goal for when you're starting to do stuff like that. Is putting in time to do the research to see what works and don't work.
Thank you. So I'm running a fun game on this blog where it's called What Happened Next, where I ask each person that I interview to add to the story. So far I've got Spunky. I always laugh every time I try to say this. Spunky the monkey threw his little diaper off on. Sorry, I give that every time I say this. Double check. Everyone I show this to, they end up laughing. Spunky the monkey pulled his little diaper off and threw it on the. What would you like to add to that?
Window of the spacecraft is what I came up with. I thought it gave it sort of took it in a different angle.
I'd love to see what followed that.
Yes, so nice.
I got next person I'm talking to. I got a bit of a laugh from him when I showed him that part.
Oh yeah, yeah. We both had that.
Yeah, we both had a lot of laughs.
No, it's an interesting where it goes.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me. I will put a link to your blog. A link to your website on the blog, and I hope to speak to you again. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been great fun. Thank you.